My girlfriend is pregnant. She's 15 years younger than me, so she needs me. I want a divorce, please.
My husband begged me. I responded with amazement. All right, but take care of our son, okay?
No way, you take him.
It's just not possible, because he is... I'm Georgina, a 40-year-old homemaker. Summer and I have been married for 10 years now. We met at work. He joined the company during the expansion. He was 3 years younger than me, but was upbeat and good-looking, which matched my type. By chance, his desk was next to me, which gave us more opportunities to interact. He eventually asked me out for a drink after work, and that's when we started getting closer. Despite him being younger, our value and perspectives were surprisingly similar, so the age gap didn't feel that significant. I was drawn to him for that reason too. We started going out for drinks and dinners regularly, and even met up on weekends. Then, we became an item after he confessed his feelings. I was thinking about the possibility of a marriage when he dropped a bombshell.
We've been going out for about a month, so I want to share something I've kept secret.
What is it? I asked, feeling apprehensive. He opened his phone and showed me a screen.
This is Mason, my son.
What? A son?
Yeah, I'm actually divorced and have a kid.
My mind went blank. How old is he?
He just turned 6.
So was he born when you were 21?
Yeah, well, I didn't go to university and was already working.
Why did you divorce your previous wife?
She cheated on me. She was seeing another guy while leaving Mason behind.
That's terrible.
I asked for full custody when we divorced.
I see.
I thought you were trustworthy after being together for a month. I'd like you to meet him soon. And well, I'm also thinking about marriage and stuff.
Oh, what? I blushed, embarrassed, as he shyly mentioned the word. From then on, we started meeting up, including Mason. At first, he was shy around me, but he gradually warmed up and even gave me flowers one day. I like you 'cause you're really nice. Here, this is for you. He handed me a bouquet of flowers that Summer had bought. Oh, this is beautiful, thank you. I've never received flowers from your dad before, so I'm really happy.
I bought them, you know.
I know. From an outsider's perspective, we seemed like a close-knit family. We got along very well, and Mason had grown fond of me. One day, he started calling me Mom, which made me incredibly happy. He accepted me as his mother. We hadn't gotten married yet, but it seemed like there wouldn't be any issues communicating with him even after we tied a knot. Samuel seems to have made up his mind after observing this.
Georgina, should we get married soon? It looks like Mason is warming up to you.
Yeah, I'm sure we could definitely be a happy family. So that's how we got engaged. We wasted no time and went to meet each other's family. My parents were thrilled to hear about our engagement, but they seemed a bit concerned when they found out about Mason.
You've never given birth to a child before, so are you sure you can handle motherhood right away? Can you love a child who isn't yours?
My father was unusually serious, and I felt a bit uneasy. Samuel was also taken aback. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, and was prepared for the challenges ahead. So I looked him straight in the eye and said, I'm ready. I will be a good mother. My parents understood my seriousness.
All right, if you say so. You have our blessings. Samuel, take good care of our daughter. Yes, I will make sure she is happy.
I was momentarily relieved, that they approved of our marriage. Next, we went to meet Samuel's parents. They were thankful that I wanted to get married, despite the fact that he had a child. The meeting went smoother than the one with my parents. So, with our family's blessings, we started to prepare for the wedding. It was attended by many friends and colleagues who celebrated our union. Mason was enjoying himself, sitting with his grandparents. Seeing him like that filled me with joy. Afterward, the three of us started living together. Starting today, I'm living with you. Yay! Mason was excited, which made me feel thrilled too. From then on, we were a real family. I became a full-time homemaker to spend more time with him and strengthen our bond. He was in his final year of kindergarten, and I always dropped him off and picked him up, making sure to be with him at all times. As a result, he grew closer to me. Look, Mom! Look at me! Wow, that's amazing! He climbed high on the playground equipment, showing off his newfound skills. Then going grocery shopping together became a daily routine. Mom, I want some snacks! Sure, pick one you like. Yay! These simple interactions made me reflect on the mother-child relationship and whether I was truly being a good mother. Despite my insecurities, spending time with him was undeniably fulfilling. We waited for summer together while making dinner, and when he came home, we ate together. Mason told him about his day, and he listened eagerly, adding his own comments. I felt incredibly fulfilled, and genuinely felt that marrying him was the best decision I'd ever made. We continued to enjoy these happy days. Mason grew up fast, but remained well-behaved and obedient after starting grade school. Around the third grade, he joined a youth baseball team and went to practice regularly on weekends. I accompanied him to every practice and met other moms while we prepared refreshments. Since many of the kids attended the same school, we were already acquainted to some extent, and they already knew about my relationship with Mason. There were a few others in the same situation, so we exchanged our experiences and advice. Mason put a lot of effort into baseball, and on days off, he often practiced on his own or visited the batting cages. I was glad he found something he was so passionate about. Eventually, he earned a regular spot on the team during his 5th grade year and performed well in games alongside old players. Every time he hit the ball, I enthusiastically clapped and cheered. His ability to connect with the pitches and to send the ball flying was really impressive. Even in the car on the way home, I praised him for his accomplishments, and he blushed but looked very pleased. Dad couldn't make it today, huh? No, he said he had to work. If there was one disappointing aspect, it was that Samuel was often too busy to attend the games. He had started working almost every weekend, and barely had time to hang out with Mason. He also worked late nights and weekdays, often coming home after Mason had gone to bed. I understood that he was working hard to support our family, but it still left us with very little time together. Unfortunately, about every other day, he came home smelling of alcohol, which meant he was going out for drinks after work. I knew that it was sometimes part of his job, but I wished he prioritized spending more time as a family. So one day, I decided to talk to him about it. Hey, can you try to make more time for Mason? He always waits for you to come home before he starts eating dinner. He's looking forward to you coming to his baseball game too. I want you guys to spend some time together like before. He seemed annoyed when I said that.
Come on. I work to support our family. Coming home late is just unavoidable.
I understand that, But Mason's still a kid. I think he needs more time with his dad.
This is getting repetitive. I'm busy, you know. You're the mother. You should handle him better.
Jeez. I was frustrated that he wasn't being cooperative. I asked him regularly to make time for our son, but I always got the same response. Finally, he became irate with me.
Come on, that's enough. Unlike you, I'm busting my butt at work every day. Raising kids is a mother's job. Suck it up and stop complaining to me.
What the heck? I was stunned by his sudden outburst. From that point on, he started coming home even later. There were days when he came home in the morning too. Each time, I sighed in disappointment. Even Mason had given up and stopped asking him to come watch his games. Mason continued his diligent effort every day and performed incredibly well in games as the team's ace and fourth batter. I had hoped Samuel would come to see him at least once, but in the end, he never attended a single game until Mason retired from the youth baseball team. Around that time, feelings of distrust started to arise inside me. He joined the baseball club in middle school and had practice every day, which made him happy. Playing baseball while going through his growth spurt, he ate a lot. Seeing him enjoy his meals so much made me happy. He was also putting in an effort in his studies, dedicating at least an hour every day and maintaining good grades. I was proud of his consistent hard work in both aspects. He began to excel in his team and played in many matches. On the other hand, my relationship with Samuel had completely cooled off, and it felt like we were just living together at that point. Still, I couldn't think about divorce, especially with Mason's education expenses to consider. At that time, he was in the 8th grade and was waiting to hear from the high school of his choice. I didn't want to disturb his life with an adult matter. Afterward, he successfully entered his first choice high school with a strong baseball program. Samuel was pleased with the result too. It was also an academically high-level school, so it was an achievement for Mason to get in while actively practicing in the baseball club. He continued to practice until late hours in high school, often coming home around 7 p.m. With more free time on my hands, I decided to start working part-time. I had given up on any hope of a better relationship with Samuel. I figured I would just focus on taking care of Mason until he was 18. That was the plan. But something unexpected happened out of the blue. One day, Mason came home looking dejected. I thought something had gone wrong at school or during the practice. What's wrong? Hesitantly, he began to speak.
Well, on the way home, my friends and I decided to stop by the bookstore. While we were heading there, I saw Dad.
Okay, and?
He was walking down the street with his arm around a woman.
What? He looked sad as he said it, and my mind went blank. Samuel was having an affair. What's worse, our own son had seen it. I started feeling an overwhelming anger building up inside me. I'm so sorry. It must have been shocking for you.
Yeah, but you don't need to apologize. It's Dad who is at fault. Mom, you should really consider divorcing him.
It was really pathetic of Samuel to make our son say such a thing. But your life...
I will be fine, Mom. Besides, I have a plan.
A plan? He surprised me by revealing his unexpected strategy. If you're really okay with it, I won't object. I decided to go along with it. After that, I spoke to Samuel. Hey, can I talk to you for a moment?
I'm exhausted. I want to go to bed.
He had a rather annoyed expression, but I continued without minding it. You're having an affair, right?
What?
He briefly showed a look of unease. There was a sighting. You were seen walking on the street, arm in arm with an unknown woman. I was sure he was going to deny it. To my surprise, he readily confessed to the affair.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend.
What? Are you admitting to having an affair?
Yeah, and there's something else I need to talk to you about.
What is it?
She's pregnant.
Holy cow! That's despicable! You have no morals.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do about it now. She's 15 years younger than me, so she needs me. I want a divorce from you, please.
He begged me. I couldn't believe he got involved with such a young woman. I felt nauseated. At that moment, any affection I had for him completely disappeared. I replied in disbelief. All right, but please take care of our son, okay?
No way, you take him.
He was surprised by my request.
My girlfriend and I are having a baby. There's no way I can take care of Mason. She wouldn't like it. You have to take him. You're his mother.
That's just impossible. I didn't legally adopt him. So once we separate, we have no relation.
But he probably doesn't want that, you know. He's close to you, so he probably wants to stay with you.
At that moment, Mason entered the room.
I will go with you, Dad. What are you saying? Mom doesn't have the financial means to pay for my education. I want to go to college too. You have the responsibility as my parents, so I expect you to fulfill it. Oh, God.
He was obligated to take care of our son since he wanted it. I then pursued alimony from him through a lawyer. We agreed on $60,000, which would provide me with a comfortable start to my new life. I moved in with my parents and focused on my career. I managed to switch from a part-time to a full-time contractor. Soon after, I was recognized for my hard work and was offered a promotion to a full-time employee. Of course, I gratefully accepted and put even more effort into my work. It seemed like I was able to keep my promise to my son. I dedicated myself to work and began to earn more. In the midst of this, I received a call from Samuel.
Hey, what's up with Mason?
What happened?
Maybe he's going through puberty, but he's always indignant, and my girlfriend's scared of him.
Oh, really?
Don't act blasé.
Well, we're soon to be divorced and won't have any obligations, you know.
Please don't say that and take him in.
No, you see, that's not possible. That's not what he wants. You and your girlfriend have to take responsibility for raising him.
She's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. She's talking about breaking up if I can do something about him.
Oh, that's tough. But it's not my concern anymore. So you will have to handle it on your own.
Wait.
I hung up the phone and blocked him. Meanwhile, I was still in regular contact with Mason. His tough attitude towards Samuel's girlfriend was all part of the plan.
That woman may not have any direct involvement, but she was the main cause of your suffering, Mom. And if she leaves Dad, he will end up with 2 sets of child support.
Despite being my own son, he came up with quite a ruthless revenge scheme. The timing for it came sooner than I had expected. I can't take it anymore! We are done! Samuel's girlfriend left him and returned to her parents. He hurried to their house, but was turned away by her parents and had to accept the breakup. They even told him he was not allowed to see his newborn. However, since he had already recognized the child as his, he would still have to pay child support. Mason delivered the final blow to his despair.
I'm going to stay with Mom from now on. You are drowning in debt, and you probably won't be able to pay my tuition.
With that, he packed his bags and came to me. I now have a stable income, and staying with my parents means I can receive their support. Therefore, I can easily afford the remaining high school tuition. On the other hand, Summer's situation is truly miserable. He is now a twice divorced single man responsible for 2 years of Mason's child support and another 18 years of his child with his ex-girlfriend. Moreover, all this drama is affecting his work performance negatively, making it difficult for him to advance in his career. With his current income, he is resigned to living a lonely life with paying off his debt. Well, he brought it upon himself, so I have no sympathy for him. As for me, I'm enjoying my happy life with Mason and my parents. I plan to keep an eye on him while I work hard to advance in my career.
It's nice to have one princess and two princes. Where's your daughter today? My best friend's comment, whom I hadn't seen in a few years, took me aback. My husband and I just have one son. What are you talking about? We only have Tom. She looked puzzled. That's weird. I could have sworn I saw your husband with a little girl the other day. I shot a questioning look at my husband, who quickly defended himself. She must have seen someone else, not me. But something about his reaction seemed off. Turns out he had a huge secret. My name's Julie, I'm 29, and most of my time is spent as a stay-at-home mom. It's just Billy, our son Tom, and me. Billy works a typical 9-to-5 job, and we tied the knot about 3 years ago. Busy as life can be, I love watching Tom grow up. I've even picked up sewing as a hobby, making cute outfits for him. We're blessed with a supportive group of family and friends. For the most part, life had been predictable. However, doubts about Billy started creeping in, casting shadows on our happiness. We met in college and became close at a club gathering where I'd had a bit too much to drink, and he took care of me. I felt bad for putting him in that spot, but when I tried to apologize, he brushed it off with a kind smile. His caring nature drew me in, and not long after, we became a couple. From college to the working world, our relationship was strong and steady. He eventually popped the question, and we happily said our I do's. Before we married, he expressed his wish for me to be a stay-at-home mom. I grew up pretty lonely with both parents working. I don't want that for our kid. I was on board, so I left my job and embraced homemaking. Our first year as a married couple went by without a hitch, and friends even said they envied our bond. Things changed when he got a new position at work surrounded by the company's top performers. His promotion came with more pay, but also way more stress. Soon his demeanor shifted. Stressed, he started taking out his frustrations on me. This food tastes awful. You're home all day and this is the best you can do? I'm sorry, I thought everything was fine. Whatever, I've lost my appetite. Clean this up. Must be nice playing around all day doing minimal housework and having me support you. After yelling at me, he threw his food on the floor and stormed into his room. I cleaned up, crying. His abusive behavior didn't stop there. He'd lash out at me for buying makeup, calling it wasteful, and if I watched TV for a bit, he'd snap at me to stop lazing around. Nights became unpredictable with him either coming home late or not at all. Many might have considered ending the marriage, but I held on to hope that the loving man I married was still there. When I became pregnant with Tom, things started to look up. His attitude mellowed, especially after Tom's birth. He stepped up, apologized for his past actions, and vowed to be better. I'm so sorry for everything. I promise to be the best husband and father. With that, I believed we were back on track. As time went on, I took up crafting handmade children's items and even started an online shop. I started sewing because I wanted to craft some clothes for my son, but I soon found myself hooked. I began creating children's apparel, fabric toys, baby accessories, and just about anything else I could think of. Initially, it was all for fun. However, after giving a few items to family and friends, they raved about the quality and even suggested I sell them. So I opened an online shop. Business has been booming. with many loyal customers coming back. I've even begun to handle special custom orders, which, while a tad more expensive, are always in demand. But lately something's been amiss. Several of the toys and stuffed animals I made on a whim have vanished. I wondered, did I just put them somewhere and forget? After tearing apart the house searching for them, I came up empty. I even asked Billy about it, but he just shrugged, saying no clue. It felt off. Things escalated when a custom-made stuffed animal disappeared. While the loss of the other toys was odd, this was an item someone had ordered and paid for. This wasn't just an oversight, it felt like theft. The customer was one I'd worked with several times before. I contemplated reporting it, but Billy was dead set against involving the cops.
Involve the police over a missing toy? Think about the neighborhood gossip,
he said, looking more frazzled than necessary. I countered, it's not just any toy, it's a paid order. What if someone's targeting our house? We can't overlook this. He retorted,
let's search again. Maybe you overlooked it. If it's still gone, then maybe we can think about the police. I'll help.
We went back and forth, but in the end I decided to wait a few more days before making a report. However, the very next day, the missing toy was suddenly back in a spot I'd checked multiple times. When I pointed it out, Billy just smirked.
See? Told you.
He implied I was forgetful, suggesting the other missing items might just be misplaced as well. While I acknowledged him, something felt off. Fast forward a bit, and while out shopping, I bumped into my high school friend Lindsay. "Julie? Is that you?" she exclaimed. "Oh my gosh, Lindsay. Wow, it's been 3 years? How's life been?" "Amazing! I finished up my work in Italy and just returned." She'd moved to Italy short after attending our wedding, so this was a mini reunion of sorts. As we chatted, Tom grew restless. I was about to wrap up when she threw me for a loop. "Where's your daughter today? It's nice to have one princess and two princes." I was baffled. Billy and I only have Tom. Why did she think we had a daughter too? "What are you talking about? We only have Tom." But she looked certain. "That's weird. I could have sworn I saw your husband with a little girl the other day." According to her, she'd been back for a week, and while preparing for her new life alone, she saw Billy at a supermarket holding a 1-year-old girl. She greeted him, but he just walked away without responding. She figured he hadn't heard her and thought she'd greet him next time. That's why she assumed we first had a daughter, then a son. I shot Billy a look, but he just turned away looking uneasy. We quickly wrapped up our conversation with Lindsay, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Billy was hiding something from me. After getting home, I cornered him. "All right, what's the deal? No one in our families has a 1-year-old girl. Are you messing around behind my back?" He looked genuinely frightened by my questions, but he firmly denied everything.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Lizzie must have confused me with someone else. Tom's our only kid.
His evasiveness was written all over his face, but I knew pushing him wouldn't lead to a confession. I decided to pretend to believe him and apologized with a remorseful look. "You're right. You never hurt Tom or me. People do have doppelgangers after all." I just jumped to conclusions after what Lindsay said. "I'm sorry." Looking relieved, he said,
It's okay. Anybody would have been rattled by that kind of comment. But can we move on? I'm starving. Is dinner ready?
"Yeah, I'll get started. I've got your favorite steak ready to go." On the outside, things seemed resolved. He likely thought he had thrown me off the scent, but I wasn't about to drop it. I was determined to uncover the truth. I hired a private eye to tail him. I played it cool, making it seem like everything was normal between us. Initially, he seemed a bit suspicious, but eventually he let his guard down, completely unaware of my moves behind the scenes. A month later, the PI delivered his findings. As I had feared, Billy was cheating. The evidence pointed to a colleague of his, named Erica. They'd been seeing each other for about 2 years, which coincided with when his behavior at home started to change. The twist was, Erica believed she was the main woman in his life, and thought they were married. Photos of her showed a young girl, probably her daughter. In one of the pics, the little girl was holding one of my handmade items that had mysteriously disappeared. Billy had likely swiped it and given it to them. I was livid. As part of the surveillance, I learned they'd all be at a department store event on a day Billy told me he'd be on a business trip. I left Tom with my folks and staked out the location. Before long, there they were, Billy, Erica, and the little girl acting like a picture-perfect family. I walked up and said, "Looks like a fun day out. Mind if I join?" Erica looked puzzled, but Billy went ghost white.
What are you doing here?
He stammered. Erica, taken aback by his reaction, queried, Who are you?" Keeping my cool, I answered, "I'm Julie, and Billy, the man you're with, is my husband." She gasped. "Your husband?" Clearly shaken, we agreed to continue our conversation at my place. Once there, we compared notes. I showed her our wedding photos and marriage certificate. Faced with the undeniable evidence, she went pale. Billy, for his part, couldn't even meet our eyes. After everything came to light, Erica shared that she started seeing Billy around 2 years ago. When she became pregnant, she proposed marriage. They completed the marriage forms and she trusted him to turn them into City Hall. Turns out he never did, so they weren't technically married. As for the handmade items I recognized, Billy had given those to her as gifts. Finally, Billy, looking defeated, fessed up.
The stress from work got to me. I planned to end things with Erica, but then she got pregnant. We work at the same place, so walking away wasn't simple. That's why I lied about us being married.
He was clearly shaken, but I couldn't muster any sympathy. My anger flared, and I could see Erica felt similarly. She shot Billy an icy look, then turned to me. "I'm really sorry. I had no clue about any of this. It's one thing to cheat, but to have a child." She said she'd compensate me for the ordeal. I saw her genuine remorse and figured she was another victim in all of this. I reassured her. "You don't have to apologize. I'm sorry my husband put you through this. Take some time for yourself and we can figure things out later." As her daughter grew restless, Erica took her leave, apologizing profusely. I confronted Billy next. "We're getting a divorce. I thought you were a decent guy, but then you pulled this? Get ready to pay alimony and child support." Terrified, he dropped to his knees, pleading.
I didn't plan on having a kid with her. I only found out about the pregnancy when it was too late. I love you and Tom. I promise I won't see her again.
"Don't see her again? That's your child. You need to step up," he desperately suggested.
We could leave everything behind, move somewhere else with Tom. It's her child. She decided to have it. Let her raise it on her own. Let's move somewhere far with Tom. Okay, honey?
I snapped back. "Seriously? You think I'd go for that? You're unbelievable. We're so over. Just stay away from Tom and me, you pathetic loser." He started crying, and all I could do was shake my head. A few months down the line, after navigating the legal maze, the divorce was finalized. Of course, I got custody of Tom, and Billy was on the hook for alimony and child support. Erica also pursued him for child support and damages. While she wanted to compensate me, I refused. She was in the same boat as a single mom. Though it all, Erica and I supported each other. I moved back with my parents, who were livid with Billy, but super helpful with Tom. I managed to land a job not long after. A few days post-divorce, I got a call from Billy's parents apologizing for everything. They filled me in on how he was doing, and it wasn't pretty. After Erica quit and spilled all the beans, Billy got a demotion at work. Now he's dealing with judgment from coworkers while juggling payments to both of us. His parents are ensuring he keeps up with his financial commitments. They're genuinely kind-hearted, and even with a busy job, I continue to make clothes for Tom. There'll be hurdles along the way, but I'm committed to doing my best for my son.
Hey, it's been a while.
It was my ex-husband who approached me. His face was grinning as if he wanted to make fun of me.
I heard you sold the house without paying back the loan. That's impossible with your income. How much debt do you owe now?
I'm sure my ex-husband is going to laugh his head off when he hears my answer. But I'm sorry, it's not going away. That house sold for $200,000 when its value went up. My ex-husband's face turned pale when he heard my words. My name is Gina. My husband Louis and I have been married for 2 years. We met at a matchmaking party held by a dating agency, and I was invited by my friend to the party. I met Louis there. He was an office worker at a company, and he's 2 years younger than me. I had been prioritizing my work, but my parents were worried about me, and I started to look for a marriage partner. And he was the same way. His parents also said, "Don't you think it's time for you to get married?" So he joined this party. We felt close to each other because we were both being rushed by our parents, and we got along well with each other right away. We were not seriously thinking of getting married, but since we met each other by chance, we exchanged contact information. We started going out for drinks regularly after work, and we also started going on dates on our days off. Louis and I had a lot in common, probably because we were close in age. So we had a lot of fun together, and I became more and more attracted to him. He also liked me, and we started dating. We continued to date steadily, and after a year of dating, we decided to get married. I was so happy when he proposed to me.
Gina, I realized that you had become a very important person to me. So I want you to continue to live your life with me. Please marry me.
He gave me a ring. I cried tears of joy when I received it. Yes, I love to. And I accepted his proposal. Then we shared the news to each other's parents, met with both of our families, and got married. Many people at work and among our friends congratulated us on our marriage, and we felt the happiest we had ever felt. Then my husband and I went on our honeymoon. I was thrilled every day with the sweet, newlywed life full of happiness. At that time, I was happy just to spend time with my husband in the same house every day. However, this does not mean that I had no complaints at all. My husband did not do any housework.
I never cooked a day in my life. So please do everything for me.
When I suggested that we learn little by little, he stubbornly refused.
Seriously, I can't hold a knife well, and I don't know how to season food well. It will be faster if you do everything. Besides, I have a job and I work too.
Our conditions are pretty much the same. It is true that I tend to come home a little earlier than him, but I still come home busy and tired. I wonder how it feels to have all the household chores done for me. I had such a complaint, but still I did not think of divorce. There are many families nowadays where the wife does all the housework, and it is important for a couple to accept each other's good points and bad points. It is impossible to make your partner do everything the way you want. And if that is the case, it will be better to hire a housekeeper or something. So, of course, there were many hard parts, but my husband never complained even if I brought ready-to-eat foods and enjoyed them. I have been doing all the housework by myself since the beginning of our marriage. We went on occasional trips, went out to eat delicious food with a little bit of extravagance, and made many memories. And before I knew it, 2 years had passed in the blink of an eye. Then something even more exciting happened to us.
What? You're pregnant?
They said 3 months.
That's amazing. Gina, does this mean we're gonna be parents too?
Yeah, we'll have to think of a name and everything.
That's exciting. Oh yeah, maybe we should build a house.
A house?
Yeah, house for the whole family. What do you think? It's a good idea, right?
Sure. We could build a house for the rest of our lives.
Yes. Then let's get ready to build a house.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I have a relative who's an architect. Maybe he can give us a discount.
That's a good idea. Let's just leave it to him.
Okay, I'll call him. I was thrilled to be pregnant and to be building a house for my family to live in. When I told my parents, they were overjoyed, and my father immediately contacted his relatives. My relative, an architect, was willing to do what I asked him to do. I told my husband about it. "Oh, that's good. Well, you should take the lead in the project." I raised my eyebrows at his response. "What? Aren't we going to decide the floor plan together?" "No, I don't know much about that. For the time being, I'm okay with it as long as it's spacious and I have my own room. Besides, your relatives should communicate with you if you were going to design the house, right? I'm not good at contracts." I've thought from the beginning of our marriage that my husband has a terrible way of rejecting things he's not used to or that are new to him. He puts everything on me because he can't do it himself. I thought we were going to discuss things together, but now he's forcing me to do everything. Moreover, I'm pregnant, so I want to concentrate on that if possible. However, my husband seemed to be completely leaving everything to me, so I had no choice but to think about the layout of the house on my own. Surprisingly, I enjoyed thinking about the house. As long as I had a spacious room for my husband, everything else was up to me. On the other hand, I could do whatever I wanted, so it was probably a good thing that my husband let it all to me. I discussed with my relatives about the new house, considering the budget and so on. Then, we made a contract and started to build the house. "Oh, so the house is finally going to be built?" "Yes, the baby will be born right around the time the house is completed." "All the happy things are happening at once. We made it. All our hard work was worth it." "I guess so. You know, my husband didn't do anything. He's acting as if he'd been preparing for it too." I gradually became annoyed at his behavior around this time. My husband did not help me with the housework when I was sick during my pregnancy, so I had my mother come over to help me during my maternity leave. "Mom, I'm sorry. I'm causing you trouble." "It's okay. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so don't worry about it." "Thank you." Thanks to my mother's support, I was able to live through a few pregnancy-related illnesses. But I was quite disillusioned with my husband. I wondered if we would be a good father to our child. These fears grew. Finally, the house was completed. When I saw the completed house, it was very beautiful and stylish. And even though I had asked him to do it because he was my relative, he still did everything professionally. I was a little bit bothered about my husband, but still, I was sure that my heart danced when I saw the completed house. "Oh wow, this is a great house. We gotta start our new life together." "Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to it. Just the thought of having a baby soon and spending time together as a family in this house made me excited again." 3 weeks later, I gave birth. A beautiful baby girl was born. My husband, parents, and in-laws were all very happy about the birth of our daughter. After leaving the hospital, I started raising my child in the new house. The smell of the new house was very soothing, and it was very easy to cook in the kitchen. My husband seems to be satisfied with the spaciousness and comfort of his room. After that, my childcare leave period ended, and I returned to work. I left my daughter at the daycare center, picked her up from work, and came home every day. My husband still did not do the housework, but by that time, I no longer felt any resistance to doing the housework by myself. However, my husband gradually started coming home late. "Did you work late again today?" "Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm going to take a bath and go to bed." "What? What about dinner?" "Sorry, I already ate." "Oh no. But I made it just for you." "I had to work, so it couldn't be helped, right?" "But why didn't you call ahead?" "It's a pain in the butt. And when I have to work late, I can't afford to call you every time." "You work too. You know that, don't you?" My husband went to take a bath with such a frustrated look on his face. After that, He came home late at night more and more often. And even on holidays, he went out alone. I became more and more dissatisfied with the fact that he did not care about the family at all. Then one day, I exploded. It was a Friday. My husband came home again at 2 a.m. without calling me. Welcome home? Whoa, you scared me. You're still up. Is it more convenient for you if I'm asleep? Not that I'm saying that. But I'm going to take a bath and go to bed. Wait a minute. What? You've been home late the last few days. You've been drinking. You go out on your days off and leave me and my daughter alone. I want you to be a better husband and father and take better care of our family. When I said this to him, he looked annoyed. I work hard to support this house as the head of the family, don't you think? Don't you dare to speak to me like that just because you're my wife. What was that supposed to mean? I work too, and I'm the only one who takes care of our kid. Huh? So what? That's a wife's job, right? That's an old-fashioned way of thinking. I just want you to think about our family, at least a little. Shut up. Don't tell me what to do. My husband got so mad that he went into his room. My daughter woke up and cried because of his yelling and anger, and I was forced to concentrate on caring for my daughter. But I'm sure that I was more angry than ever with my husband. I decided to go back to my parents' house for a while and pack clothes for about a week. The next morning, I took my daughter home early. My parents welcomed me warmly because I had explained the situation to them beforehand. It's a tough relationship between a husband and wife. But I do wish you would think about your family a little more. Well, forget all that for once and stretch your wings. I'll take care of the housework. My parents took care of me. It helped me to relax and concentrate on my work. I'm sure my husband will be thankful for me in a week. I left the house for such a long period of time because I wanted him to realize how much I took care of the housework. But I never heard from my husband during that time. I wonder if he was too stubborn to contact me. At any rate, I went home because I'd been bothering my parents for a week or more already. I wondered how dirty the house was. I opened the front door of my house with some anxiety. It was as clean as when I left. Had my husband cleaned up the house? I entered the house with surprise. But when I saw what was now on the table, I was absolutely stunned. What? No way! There were divorce papers on the table that had already been filled out. And when I looked at his room, I found his belongings were gone. In short, he had left while I was giving him the house. I called him in a panic. Hey, Louis! Who are you? Huh? I thought I called my husband, but a woman answered the phone. Are you Louis' wife? Yes, but who are you? I'm Louis' girlfriend. What? Louis dumped you. Oh no. You were having an affair? Louis chose me. At first, it was an affair. But now that I'm officially his partner, you need to file for divorce. Oh, and don't try to find him, okay? We've already quit our jobs and moved to different places. You have a mortgage on the new house, don't you? And you have to raise your kid. I don't think a mere office worker can cover such expenses. But good luck with that. After saying this, the doctor hung up the phone. I despaired. I had no idea that my husband was having an affair. I was so angry that I couldn't control my emotions. My parents came to see me right away, and as we talked, I gradually regained my composure. My parents were also indignant and wanted to catch them right away, but I didn't want to waste my money on a detective agency to look for them. Anyway, I called my parents-in-law, but they didn't know where my husband had gone, and they apologized profusely. I had many thoughts about my husband, but I decided to forget about him and move on with my life. I filed for divorce and decided to raise my daughter as a single mother. The problem was this new house. The house, which is under my name, is a rather expensive house, and the mortgage is still $4 million because I had assumed that we would be able to pay for it together. Now that my husband is gone, I have to pay off this loan by myself, which is impossible. It is not realistic when I think about saving money for tuition for my child. So I decided to sell the house. A year has passed since then. After my divorce, I moved back to my parents' house, and with the support of my parents, I was raising my child and working hard. Then one day, I decided to go shopping and was walking around town. I was walking around, and suddenly someone called out to me.
Hey, it's been a long time.
It was my ex-husband.
What are you doing here?
His face was grinning so much that he wanted to make fun of me.
I just came to buy something for my daughter.
I wanted to leave as soon as possible, but he insisted on talking to me.
I heard you sold the house without paying back the loan.
How do you know that?
I want to see if you were still living in the house. But I saw the name on there had changed, so I knew you sold it. Well, you can't afford it. It's better to sell the house, even if it's in red. How much debt do you owe now?
That's what my ex would ask me. I'm sure he's planning to laugh his head off when he hears my answer. But I'm sorry, it's not going your way. That house sold for $20 million when land prices went through the roof.
Huh?
Yes. So we made profit of over $10 million after all that. My ex-husband's face turned pale when he heard my words.
No way. You're lying, right? How could you sell that house for that much? That house wasn't bad, but it was just a normal house.
Wow, we just got lucky. The relative who designed that house was an internationally recognized architect. That was before you left with your mistress, so the house sold for a huge premium because of it. Well, it was brand new and immaculate.
Oh no. Then give me my share. Half of it's mine.
I'm afraid I can't do that. You left a written note with the divorce papers saying there would be no share.
I didn't want to give you a dime of my money.
Even so, it's still valid. So I don't have to give you the money I got. Then we have nothing more to talk about.
Wait a minute. I'm in debt. I tried to make a fortune in the stock market and failed. And the woman I remarried ran away. I'm so stupid.
And that's why you decided to ask me for help? You're really good at what you do. But you dumped me. Do you think I would help you with money? But since you showed your face now, I'll charge you alimony and child support for the affair.
Hey.
If you come any closer to me, you're going to owe me even more money. Is that clear?
What?
If you don't like it, don't ever come near my family again. I told that to my ex-husband, and he ran away in fright. I don't expect to get any alimony from him anymore, but I'd rather not have him come close to me and cost me money now. So I taught him this so that he would never appear in front of me again. In fact, since then, my ex-husband has stopped showing up at all. Well, maybe he is so much in debt that he doesn't have any time to pay the bills. But I am already happy and prosperous enough without him, and I don't want to get involved with him anymore. I am going to live happily with my daughter who is growing up, and my parents, and I am going to do my best in my work every day.